You don't notice when the rope tightens. Softness never arrives with a warning. It slips into your life the way fog slips into a field, quiet, harmless, almost tender. At first, you welcome it. A little comfort after a long day, a little ease to smooth the edges. And without realizing it, you begin trading your fire for pillows, your hunger for convenience, your instincts for a slow drip of numbness that feels like safety. This is how the modern world kills a spirit, not through violence, but through a velvet trap that feels like a blessing. You wake every morning inside a cocoon of predictable warmth. You move through a day padded by screens, soft chairs, polished floors, and routines designed to keep you from ever feeling friction. And somewhere in that gentle world, the warrior inside you begins to suffocate. Not dramatically, not suddenly, but the way embers fade when no one stirs the coals. Your courage atrophies, your discipline loosens, your inner blade rusts quietly, like a weapon no longer needed because there are no battles worth fighting. Musashi never knew this softness. His mornings were cold, his meals uncertain, his nights spent under open skies where silence had weight. Hard ground was his teacher. Hunger was his sharpened mirror. The world showed him no mercy, and so he learned to expect none. This was the furnace that shaped him a life where every moment pressed against the spirit, demanding clarity or collapse. And yet today, you are surrounded by temptations that ask nothing from you. You are invited to sit, to rest, to indulge, to drift. Comfort disguises itself as care, while quietly draining the blood from your instincts. It is a beautifully padded coffin, pleasant, unquestioned, sealed without force. One morning, a man looks in the mirror and realizes his dreams didn't die in a battle. They died in a bed. They faded not with a clash, but with a sigh. Not with a final strike, but with a slow surrender to ease. This is the danger. Comfort kills you gently, respectfully, with your full cooperation. And if you remain unaware, you will mistake the tightening velvet rope for an embrace. Strength is not born in comfort. It is carved from resistance. Musashi emerged, not from a nurturing household or a protected childhood, but from the wild edges of life where nothing was guaranteed. Fatherless, unanchored, unshielded from the world's cruelty, he wandered through landscapes that tested him before he ever held a blade. The mountains, the storms, the cold rivers, they were his first opponents. And unlike modern life, they did not soften themselves to accommodate him. They pushed, they pressed. They forced him to become something sharper than circumstance. Hard ground is sacred. It teaches you what soft ground cannot, that roots deepen through friction, not ease. If you loosen the soil, the roots do not grow stronger, they die from lack of challenge. This is the truth modern men forget. In a world insulated by climate control, delivery meals, curated environments, and digital comforts, the spirit loses the grit required for survival. You begin avoiding the very conditions that once forged great men: discomfort, hunger, uncertainty, solitude. Imagine two lives running parallel. One man wakes each day avoiding discomfort as if it were a plague. He will not touch the cold. He shies from conflict. He flees the sharp edge of effort. The other man, Musashi, actively walked toward hardship. He sought out the uneasy terrain, the lonely paths, the hours that stretched into cold nights, not to punish himself, but to sharpen himself. Hardness was not misery. Hardness was discipline. Hardness was truth. Musashi didn't ask for easier ground. He asked for a stronger spirit. And that request came with a price: blisters, hunger, bruises, cold winds, trembling muscles, and endless repetition. But each hardship paid dividends the soft man never receives: clarity, resilience, unshakable calm, the ability to stand unmoved when the world screams. Your spirit is no different. It craves resistance the way a sword craves heat. Without stress, you do not grow, you decay. Without challenge, you do not evolve, you regress. Without hardship, the masculine fire within you collapses under its own weight. A warrior's soul is born in hard ground, and if your life lacks that ground, you must learn to create it. Because nothing kills a man faster than a life that demands nothing from him. Stagnation is not always loud. Sometimes it looks like comfort. Sometimes it feels like calm, but still water, no matter how peaceful it appears, rots from within. Decay begins the moment movement stops, the moment flow ends, the moment the river loses its purpose, and your spirit follows the same law. When you stop pushing against the world begins to push inward, turning your strength into softness and your softness into silent ruin. Modern life encourages stillness, not the meditative kind that sharpens awareness, but the passive kind that drains vitality. Endless scrolling, endless sitting, endless consumption. A life designed to keep you entertained but empty. A life where the mind never struggles, the body never strains, and the heart never battles anything real. And in this false tranquility, a deeper sickness grows. The spiritual depression born not from struggle, but from the complete absence of it. This is the tragedy of soft living. A life without friction feels peaceful at first, until you realize peace without purpose is paralysis. You begin to sense something rotting beneath the surface. A heaviness, a quiet dread, a feeling that your days no longer cut into the world, they merely pass through it like mist. You are alive, but drifting, present, but unanchored, breathing but stagnant. Musashi warned against this long before screens existed. Do not remain in one place for too long, he said, not as travel advice, but as a spiritual law. Movement is life. Struggle is breath. The warrior who stays still without purpose invites decay. Musashi understood that stillness must be chosen, not defaulted. Stillness for training sharpens perception. Stillness for comfort dulls it. One creates clarity. The other creates corrosion. Think of your own life. The comfort that was supposed to soothe you has begun to weigh on you. The ease that once felt liberating now feels like chains. You're not exhausted from effort. You're exhausted from the lack of it. This is the rot of still water, the spirit slowly dissolving because nothing pushes against it. You were not built for a motionless existence. If you do not direct your life into movement, your spirit will sink into the depths of stagnant softness, and rot is always silent till it is not. Weakness is rarely created in a single moment. It is carved through 1,000 small decisions, so soft, so quiet, that you barely notice their weight. You choose warmth over cold, because it's easier. You choose distraction over discipline, because it feels lighter. You choose to please others instead of speaking truth because you fear confrontation. Each one seems insignificant. Each one feels harmless. Yet every soft choice dulls your blade a little more, until one day you wake and realize you no longer recognize the man holding it. Musashi lived in a world where every choice carried weight. He walked miles barefoot not because he enjoyed suffering, but because he refused to let comfort rule him. He fasted to teach his body obedience. He trained alone in forests, fields, and abandoned shrines, choosing isolation over ease because he knew a warrior's edge comes from austerity, not indulgence. Hard choices strengthened him. Easy choices would have ruined him long before any opponent had the chance. Contrast that with modern life, meals delivered at the tap of a screen, entertainment ready to consume without effort, conflicts muted with avoidance. You are surrounded by options designed to make everything smoother, softer, simpler, but behind every easy choice hides a quiet poison. The more you choose comfort, the more you reinforce weakness. The more you avoid difficulty, the more difficult life becomes. And the more you run from friction, the more fragile your spirit grows. There was once a samurai who became so accustomed to luxury that he neglected his training. His armor gathered dust. His sword lost its sheen. When danger finally came, he still looked like a warrior, but he no longer moved like one. His downfall began not on the battlefield, but in the soft decisions he made each day, each one a tiny surrender. You face the same battle, and every easy choice, no matter how small, is a retreat, a quiet turning away from the man you were meant to be. There is a different kind of man in this world. He does not wait for life to challenge him. He challenges himself. He does not fear hardship. He seeks it, welcomes it, honors it as a sacred teacher. This is the man who understands the ancient truth. Adversity does not weaken the spirit, it reveals it. The choice to face difficulty willingly is the essence of the warrior's path. The path Musashi walked with unwavering resolve. Voluntary struggle is spiritual training. Musashi believed a man must make his body accustomed to hardship, not because pain is noble, but because avoiding it is deadly. The man who shelters himself from difficulty becomes brittle. The man who embraces difficulty becomes unbreakable. So he goes out into the cold. He denies himself comforts others cling to. He practices discipline with no audience. He stands alone, breathing deeply into the discomfort until it becomes familiar, then natural, then necessary. This form of hardship is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the forging of a spine strong enough to carry the weight of responsibility. It is the sharpening of instincts dulled by modern softness. It is a conversation with the raw world, where every gust of wind, every drop of sweat, every tremor in the muscles whispers the same message. You are alive, and you are capable of more. Modern men fear this path because it has no applause. No one will reward you for stepping into cold water at dawn. No one will praise you for walking instead of driving, for writing instead of scrolling, for resisting indulgence instead of embracing it. But this is the point. The man who seeks hardship does not need recognition. His strength is built in silence. His victories are internal. His transformation unfolds hour by hour, inch by inch, in the unseen rituals that rebuild a spirit others have allowed to collapse. Picture yourself carrying a heavy stone uphill every morning. No one knows why you do it. No one cares, but you know. You feel your spine straightening. You feel a weight inside you, becoming solid, anchored, real. Hardship has become your companion, not your enemy. And through it, you begin remembering who you were before the world softened you. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the sculptor. It carves away the excess, the hesitation, the weakness that accumulates when life grows too soft. Sweat, soreness, hunger, fear, these are the sacred elements of rebirth. And yet modern men avoid them as if they were curses. They forget that before comfort existed, pain was the language through which a man discovered himself. There comes a moment in every life when the spirit grows restless, when softness no longer soothes, but a man begins to feel the hollowness behind his conveniences, the dead air in rooms too quiet, the stale comfort of routines too easy. And in that quiet discomfort, an ancient instinct stirs, a whisper from the bones. You have gone too soft, bleed again. Relearning how to bleed is not about harming yourself. It is about returning to raw experience, touching cold earth, feeling breath burn in your chest, letting your muscles tremble from effort instead of anxiety, standing alone in silence without the shield of distraction. These moments reconnect you to the primal truth Musashi lived daily. The spirit is renewed through hardship, not evasion. There is a story of a modern man who felt his life slipping into numbness. Nothing was wrong, yet everything felt wrong. He had food, comfort, warmth, entertainment, convenience, but no pulse inside. So he began reintroducing difficulty in small doses. He ran when he didn't want to. He embraced cold water. He lifted heavy things. He turned off the noise. And slowly, something ancient returned to his eyes. Not joy, not excitement, something deeper: presence, weight, direction. He wasn't escaping pain. He was using it. Pain became a sculptor again. Musashi understood this truth. Pain is the sculptor of character. Comfort is its grave. The path of a warrior is not a path of ease. It is a path of deliberate friction. You walk it alone, because no one else can bleed for you. And in the end, suffering is not a punishment. It is the only honest companion that never lies to you about who you are. Every man reaches a point where he must decide whether he will continue dissolving in softness or rise back into the fire that once defined him. Sharpening the blade again begins with a vow, a loud vow. Not a dramatic vow, but a quiet, internal turning toward the hard path. A willingness to reclaim the ground you surrendered to ease. To rebuild the instincts that comfort diluted. To choose resistance as the birthplace of strength. Rebirth is not mystical. It is forged the same way steel is forged. Heat, hammer, water, repeat. You heat your life with effort. You let discipline strike against you like a hammer. You cool your mind in silence, and you repeat the cycle until the softness burns away. This is how warriors are made, not through talent, not through motivation, but through ritual. Rituals of strength, rituals of difficulty, rituals that turn struggle into identity. Walk toward the mountain, not away from it. This is the ancient call. The world has given you every excuse to pick the easy road, to avoid confrontation, to accept mediocrity as normal. But deep down you know the truth. The path with obstacles is the path that leads you back to yourself. Musashi lived this vow relentlessly. If there were two paths before him, he took the harder one, not because he enjoyed suffering, but because the hard path was the only one that demanded his full spirit. You are at that same crossroads. Look at your life honestly. Look at the places you chose ease over growth. Look at the softness that has crept into your days, and then choose differently. Choose the cold over the warm. Choose discipline over distraction. Choose solitude over noise. Choose the weight over the comfort, not for the world, but for the man inside you who remembers what strength feels like. Sharpening the blade again is choosing yourself. It is the refusal to rot in still waters. It is the quiet reclaiming of your fire. Hardship will not destroy you, it will reveal you. And every step you take toward resistance is a step back toward the spirit you were meant to carry.